The Democrats' impeachment spectacle returning to Capitol Hill. You're looking live as the House Rules Committee continues to set guidelines for a debate and full House vote expected tomorrow. But the real fireworks are going down in the Senate. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and Minority Leader Chuck Schumer are waging war over potential witnesses.
The House chose this road. It's their duty to investigate. It's their duty to meet the very high bar for undoing a national election.
The House has built a very strong case against the president. Maybe that's why Leader McConnell doesn't seem to want witnesses, at least not agree to them now.
And President Trump hammering Nancy Pelosi over impeachment in a letter, saying that the Democrats are declaring open war on American democracy. Here is the president earlier.
I've not seen it. Look, it's a hoax. The whole impeachment thing is a hoax. We look forward to getting onto the Senate. We're not entitled to lawyers. We're not entitled to witnesses. We're not entitled to anything in the House. It's a total sham. I've never seen the Republican Party so united. We got, for our last vote, as you know, we got 100% of the vote. I believe the Senate is equally as well united. I watched Mitch McConnell this morning. I watched numerous people last night, senators, and I think we're equally well united.
All right. So, Dana, we assume they're going to impeach tomorrow in the House, and now we're looking forward to what's going to happen in the U.S. Senate. Now they're jockeying for position. Who do you think's winning that the pre-fight fight?
So I think a couple things. If you are looking at the polls, either the national ones or in the battleground states, I think that if you, as the prosecution, the Democrats, have the burden of proof, right, and you have not moved the needle at all, then I think the Republicans have actually done very well so far. One of the things that is a big complaint right now, as they figure out the rules, is that the Senate is looking at the House saying, but you didn't even call these witnesses before, so why should we call them now?
They didn't even try. They never went to court over it.
And in 1999, Chuck Schumer had a different position. He's explained that in his own way, but you can also find Republicans also changing their position from 1999 to today. The thing is that the House made a House of straw, not a house of bricks.
What?
Yeah.
Good job, Dana.
Good analogy.
Thank you. That was not the analogy. That was actually a metaphor.
Oh, right.
My analogy is coming later in the D block when we go back to this because it's such a good one. I'm going to save it for then. I do think that the Republicans have the upper hand here, but I also believe that once they get through this, once you turn the page on a new year, it would be a good thing for everybody to have a motion to dismiss and get it over with.
And Greg, Dana mentioned Chuck Schumer kind of changing his position from the 90s. Let's listen to that, and then you can respond.
Any fair process would be consulting the White House because it's the president who's the defendant, and due process would guarantee him, or fairness certainly would guarantee him, certain rights. It seems to me that no good case has been made for witnesses. We ought to be doing, instead of this, is doing what the American people want us to do, which is make the schools better and preserve Social Security and rein in the HMOs.
Oh, wow.
Rein in the HMOs.
Are you saying he's a hypocrite? Hey, look, if he got any dumber, he would be a bag of clams. He is saying, in one breath, we've built a strong case, but we need more witnesses. If you have a strong case, you don't need any more witnesses. But also, the whole idea of expecting the Senate to call witnesses is hilarious. If you've already won the case, which Trump has, there's no way he's going to be impeached. We already know this. Again, it's like we've already seen this movie. Why call more witnesses to expand with more stuff to be looked at? If you are about to win a discrimination case, do you call more witnesses on your behalf? No, you don't. You don't have to do that. There's no chance of him being impeached in the Senate, so you don't want to give them more free swings of the bat. Last, the idea of Schumer talking about fairness. Nothing is fair in politics, and it's a pointless argument because you will always see your side, right or left, as being the disadvantage. No one ever comes up to you and you go, Dana, you know, I think I'm really getting the better end of this deal. No one has ever said that in the history of anything.
No.
So everybody always sees their side as being at the disadvantage. So just saying it's not fair waste your oxygen and waste our time. So just get rid of that argument and just assume that people are going to disagree with you and you're going to disagree with them.
Juan, would you like to respond to the fairness? Because, you know, in the House, the Democrats denied all Republican witnesses, and now Chuck's saying, oh, no, you should treat us fairly after the Republicans got railroaded in the House.
You know, sometimes I listen and I just get dizzy because, let me get this straight.
The thoughts are too quick.
They said, oh, we don't need to hear from Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, and we don't, because they're not the ones who are on trial here in terms of impeachment.
Chalupa.
It's President
Don't
Trump.
forget
so
Chalupa.
All of a sudden,
Don't make me hungry.
Any efforts to distract are legitimized by this. You know, what about is it's ridiculous. Here's what happened today.
What?
The president sends a letter to Nancy Pelosi that's essentially a scream from a guilty man. He says, you know, I can't argue with you, but I'm going to call you names. I'm going to say this is a hoax. I'm going to say that was a perfect call. You know what, Jesse?
What?
70% of Americans, including Republicans, say, you did something wrong, Mr. President.
Okay.
That's not right to try to use your power as a representative of the United States to get information on your political opponent. Don't do it. You shouldn't have done it. But it's only because, and this comes back to Greg's point, it's only because Republicans insist, oh, you know what? I'm going to just be totally loyal. I'm a Republican, so I won't look at the facts, and that goes to what's going on in the
That's
Senate.
not what I said. Why do you have to, like, if I'm saying something, you don't have to make up new stuff.
Because if the facts are so
You're like
clear-
Adam Schiff.
Yeah.
You take a story and then you regurgitate it with, like, completely nonsensical facts. I said nothing like that.
Well, because you know what? If the Democrats
All right.
were in fact on the
You're screaming.
defensive, Trump wouldn't have sent that letter. It's
Juan.
Trump
No,
who's
that's
on
Trump.
the defensive.
Trump's
if
been
you
doing
were-
that for 3 years. You're acting like his own words when they are loud or aggressive or funny
perfect.
somehow proof of guilt. No, it's proof of Trump.
Here's the laughable to all of America. Perfect call. No problem with that call.
Okay,
What's
Juan's
wrong with the call?
frustrated because he's going to lose in the Senate.
There
That's
are
what this is
plenty
about.
of Republicans who were on the House Judiciary Committee who've said publicly, do I think it was a perfect call? No. Do I like what the president said? No. Is it an impeachable offense? Absolutely not. And that is where the majority of the country is, which is proven by the way that the polls have been going down on behalf of the narrative for the Democrats and up for President Trump in terms of his approval and what Republicans are doing and how they're handling this. But back to the process here of where we're going forward. Democrats set the low standard of impeachment in the House. So for Chuck Schumer now to laughably ask for some kind of fairness is just a big joke. And the White House now has an opportunity, and so do Senate Republicans, to say, let's quit while we're ahead. The numbers politically are good for us. We don't benefit by bringing someone like Hunter Biden or anyone else in front of the Senate to testify, because then Democrats do get other witnesses to come and talk under oath. And I think that Democrats are very severely underestimating the blowback in Trump districts who now have Democrat representatives in Congress who are basically saying, we know better than you. We don't believe that your vote counts, and now we're going to make a decision to impeach the president. And in that letter today to Nancy Pelosi, President Trump wasn't just talking to Pelosi. He was defending himself, putting himself in the historical record, and also he mentions the voters, and he's talking about how the Democrats are attacking millions of people around the country with this charade that they've done. And so if the Democrats have a clear-cut case, their numbers would be higher, and Chuck Schumer wouldn't be asking for more evidence.
I don't know how they could be higher, Katie. They're already almost
stuck at the same spot.
Half the country thinks
been there for 2 months.
He should be impeached.
Juan,
That's a myth.
And guess what? When it was Clinton, it never got above 29%.
Don't ruin the show.
This is outrageous.
Don't ruin the show. We know you're upset, and that's because you're losing, and that's okay.
No, because
you can
I
talk
think,
about it later in the show.
I think America is a great country, and we should protect the Constitution and not let this authoritarian.
You're changing the Constitution.
Okay, it's the first time I heard you talking about protecting the Constitution.
Oh, I
could
see.
hear more of that from you, Juan.
All right, let's go for it.